making models hollow can be a great cost saver, but if you're doing your printing at home yourself, usually your slicing software does it for you and even fills it. For instance, this is a model that was unfinished, and you can see inside it has a structure that is automatically generated by my slicing software. You don't have to do that in Blender. But if you go to a commercial service, a lot of the time they will charge you by the cubic centimeter. A pretty normal price for a print could be, for instance, $2 per cubic centimeter. In this case, I have Blue here in the screen. He is 7.5 centimeters tall, and if I check on the volume, he is set up with centimeters, so the result is also in centimeters. He has 21 cubic centimeters in him, so it would cost me $42 to have him printed. By the way, if you don't have this panel and you're in Blender 2.67 or above, you can probably enable it under User Preferences, Add-ons, and search for the Mesh 3D Print Toolbox. Check the box, save your user settings, and you will have the Print 3D Toolbox on the left. I'd like to show you two ways in which you can make your model hollow. The one is completely by hand, the other is automatic but needs some cleanup afterwards. The thing that we have to look for is a way to create a second skin. The reason being, because we're in a 3D program, if I look in wire mode, you can see I already have a single skin, so he has a hollow inside. But your 3D printer doesn't look at it this way. Basically what it sees is a wall is calculated, so it's approaching from the right, it meets a wall here. Then it reckons, oh, I'm inside, inside, inside until I meet another wall. So what we are creating is a skin like a balloon all the way around the model. The way that we can make it hollow is by adding a second version of the model inside it to make a hollow space. So first we have to make a hole somewhere for the excess material to leave the print. What I will do is do it under the foot because that's a nice spot. First, make sure I don't have any modifiers that get in the way too much. I think the mirror modifier and the subsurf should be okay. So what I will do is create a hole in the foot. Actually, with Alt I can select the edge around here and delete the faces. Then with L select the inside and delete all those verts. So the foot is now completely hollow. My model has an inside and an outside, but the skin has no thickness to it. What I will do is I will close the front of the foot off a little bit. In this case, here we go, just make a little triangle. I'm not trying to make it too precise or too complicated. So that looks pretty nice. Maybe I'll close it one more, so that I end up with an almost round gap that I can select with Alt and extrude it, then let go by clicking Escape or the right mouse button and scale it down. This is the hole that the material can get out of my printer. And if I look from wire mode from the side, you can see I can extrude it up, and I'll do it in multiple steps. Look from the front. Looks like it's nicely in the middle of the leg and there's enough room on the left and right. Maybe I'll rotate it a bit, extrude it more, and here we go. So I'm making a tube inside the model just by extruding the edge of a hole. Now the top becomes a little bit more complicated because I have to go in the middle and fill it completely. And because I have the mirror modifier, I can't just go up and be finished. I have to connect the left leg to the right leg. What I will do is select a couple of points, and clipping is switched on. I'll switch it off to show you that first. And I can just extrude these to the middle. Now I'm all the way beyond the middle, but if you enable clipping and you drag it to the middle, there you go. it is stuck. So I've connected the left and the right somewhat. Actually, this could be in there as well. I'll just drag it and create a new face. It's a little bit hard to see. Maybe it's easier if I do it like that. So we made a tube going into the leg and then connected part of the tube to the other side. I'll enable it again and select the complete outer edge. Here we go. And extrude it again. And I don't want it to clip just yet. I can probably scale all of this down a bit and go up. I don't want to go into the neck because the neck is probably just about thick enough. I don't want it to be too fragile. So this is the model. I will close the top as far as I can. So we go up a bit, select these points, select 4 points every time and hit F to create a face. Here we are. So the top is now closed. I can make it a little bit more rounded by loop cutting it. That's a little bit better. And if I want to add more points to make it match the belly and the back a bit more, we can do that very easily by using loop cut and move things back a little bit. So we're looking from the side, moving it like this. But if you start moving things around and you have the mirror modifier switched off, make sure afterwards, you see this has been moved away from the center line, this point. So I have to stick it back to the center line afterwards. I should select all of this and make sure it is on the line. It is in this case, except for that point. You see I can drag it away. So I will drag it to the line until it's stuck, and it's stuck. This is one way manually to make your model hollow. In this case I didn't check him too much. You should check for wall thickness issues after you do this because you've created new walls in your model. Let's check the volume. Currently the volume of my model has become 17.8 cubic centimeters. That's a saving of around 3 cubic centimeters. That's about $6. It's not very much, but if you want to have 100 of them printed, that becomes a substantial amount. Next, I want to look at an automated way to do it. To show you a slightly more automated way to make a model hollow, I'd like to use the stag model that I used in some other tutorials as well. Mostly because it has some really thick and some really thin parts. And the thin parts cannot be made hollow because I would make them too thin and they couldn't support their own weight. So it's a good example to see not only how to make it hollow, but how to fix issues that we know will arise. I will go into the scene and local view so I can look at only the stag. You can see I've set up the file so that the model is 10 centimeters tall. I'm working in millimeters. And what I want to do is, just like when I do it by hand, is make a hole for excess material to leave the model. If you don't do that, the printer will think it is supposed to be a hollow model and the inside is just going to be discarded. So I will go in and cut a hole. For instance, I can delete these 3 vertices and we have a really nice hole, except that there is no wall thickness to it. What we can use is another tool that seems to be popping up from time to time. It is the solidify modifier, and the solidify modifier creates an inner skin for us automatically. I will add in the modifier panel, the little wrench symbol, I will add a solidify modifier. You can see the automatic setting is not quite what I want. In this case it makes it 100 micrometers thick because it goes wrong because the scale of my model is at 100. I don't want the scale to be at 100, it should be 1. So the 100 micrometers is applied before the scale is applied. That's why it's become huge. I will go Object, Apply, Scale. Now it's made a second skin, and we can see when we're really close, it's very, very small. the thickness of the skin should always at least be the minimum of your 3D printer. So if my 3D printer can print something that's 2 millimeters thick, then the solidify thickness should also be 2 millimeters. I will make it a little bit safe and say 2.2 millimeters. Don't forget to type in both M's as well. So it's 2.2 millimeters. You can see it's pretty thick, and in some spots, like the horns, it's going wrong. But it's made a nice second skin on the inside of my model. You see at the nose it's gone completely wrong, but that's something we can fix. To fix it, we want to apply the modifier and do one or two small things. I will apply it first. Now we've made the second skin real. You can see there are points. Ooh, I'll do it a little slower. Points for the second skin as well that we can edit. And what I want to do is separate the inside from the outside. And we can do that by selecting this entire loop around the hole that we cut earlier. And if you hit V on your keyboard, I will add this little symbol where you can follow me. I hit V and move away. You see we're cutting the loop away from the inside. Now we can select the entire outside by clicking L on the keyboard and click H to hide the outside. We haven't thrown it away, we've just hidden the outside after selecting it, and you can see there's lots of problems everywhere. This sort of thing will never be printable. Now a very simple fix, for instance for the nose, would be to select the last loop that is okay by holding down Alt and clicking on an edge and just deleting these vertices. I will delete these as well, select this and merge them at the center. So I've closed the hole in the beak that I made and fixed it. And the same we can do here, probably make it see-through, delete these points, then with L select everything floating above it, and we end up with a hole. And this hole we can extrude and merge at the center to close it. It's a very powerful tool for closing holes. So select these points, actually the ear we can select all of it here. Delete the vertices, extrude and merge at the center. By doing this we make the shape a lot simpler, but it should really work. I'll delete the vertices, and this is a bit of a mantra sometimes. And we end up with two holes. I'll just merge them. I'm not going to extrude first in this case. It's a little bit messy anyway. If this looks a little bit too messy, we can simply select the entire... can I make this a bigger selection, please? There we go. The plus on your numpad can make the circle for circle select bigger. It's very nice. And then in the W menu, simply smooth the result. There's something left here. And we'll do it again. Smooth a couple times. In this case, it's going to give us a nice rounded result. And with the legs, you do exactly the same. So we select the loop. We can probably select this one. Do it on the other side as well. So we select all the floating stuff and delete it. And in this case, merge it at center. Alt M for merging. Select the loop, Alt M. This doesn't have to be very pretty. So we fixed it. This is the inside of my model. I can Alt H to unhide the outside. The only thing is they are not connected. No, they are not connected to each other. But because I used V, there are points lying exactly on top of each other. So this is exactly on the point going in the other direction. If I select everything and remove the doubles are the points that are sharing a location. It removed the 12 verts around here, and we should have a single continuous model. In this case, the volume is going to be 15 cubic centimeters, and I will save the file and go back to the original to figure out how much that was. So file, open recent, that one I got 15 after checking, and it used to be 32. So by doing that, making it hollow with the solidify modifier, I saved half my money. That is considerable. That is the bonus when you do solidify, because it's very precise. It follows the entire skin of your model. Of course, these models are very nice mono hulls. They have a single skin going all the way around, so they don't need too much cleanup. It can become a little bit messier otherwise, but the solidify tool is wonderful for making hollow models.